It was the achievement of the 1960s, putting a man on the moon, the event made possible by something President Kennedy called a moonshot. Well, President Biden now has a similar ambition that faces steep odds as well, dramatically cutting deaths related to cancer.
Joe St. George is taking an in-depth look at the cancer moonshot and what realistically could change the next few years.
Life was moving along pretty much according to plan.
The thing about cancer,
completely broadsided.
it really doesn't care
Unfortunately, they found a mass.
what plans you have.
Like your whole universe completely goes into skyfall.
Maybe you relate with Karen Hallie
I
LaCamera.
had a mass on my ovary.
Or maybe Dana Bernson's story.
He passed away in May.
She was just 29 when she lost her husband.
I am still angry.
There's a lot going on in our country.
We can end cancer as we know it.
But one issue that may fly a bit under the radar is what President Biden is calling his cancer moonshot. It's modeled after President Kennedy's dream of going to the moon. In his budget proposal last month, the president requested billions from Congress for new research. He wants the death rate from cancer cut by at least 50% over the next 25 years.
But I got to be honest, so much of what's talked about in Washington never really happens. So I was curious, how close are we to really curing cancer?
For answers, we went to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston.
Can cancer be cured in our lifetime?
Cancer isn't just one thing.
Speak with doctors like Harold Bernstein.
The Kennedy moonshot was actually pretty easy. Cancer is a more complicated problem.
He says, first off, this moonshot is a lot harder. In the 60s, NASA had the science.
We don't have all the science we need.
But spending billions, he says, will help create better treatments and screenings.
We don't have a test to do early detection of pancreatic cancer.
Bernstein says taxpayer-funded research could change that in our lifetime, while a cure is less likely.
And would that be a blood test?
Probably be a blood test.
One of the biggest issues more funding might solve is access to screenings that work. He envisions fewer appointments in hospitals and more mobile vans that can provide screenings like mammograms.
It isn't cheap, but it's more expensive to treat cancers when they're advanced.
The doctor's biggest fear? The pandemic showed that when the government gets involved in healthcare, some distrust is created. For this to work, it can't be political. As for Karen and Dana,
How is it that I made it through?
until a cure happens, they've found a way to beat the pain.
I was lucky to find a new fantastic partner.
Dana has remarried and volunteers with the American Cancer Society. Karen is in remission.
I think cancer's touched all of us.
In Boston, I'm Joe St. George.